Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today we're going to go back to 1989 to talk about a very important band in terms of music history, which of course is Galaxie 500, and this is their second album, On Fire. And basically they were important because they were kind of the pioneers of that like slowcore, shoegazy dream pop sound that became very popular in the late 80s and early 90s. And this is probably their best album, although I will say there are a couple things about it that never quite sat well with me. One is the lyrics are a little bit bare bones, and then the second thing would be that Dean Wareham's vocal performance on this album can be divisive. Sometimes I don't mind it, other times it's a little much, but on the whole, this album is very good. I really like it, so I definitely recommend it. But with that said, I'm excited to talk about it. So let's jump in to track 1, which is called Blue Thunder. So the key to understanding this song is Blue Thunder is what Dean Wareham called his car back in the day. And basically the song is just a really lovely way to remind everybody to try to live in the present, to enjoy what you have available to you. Because obviously during the song, he's driving his car down the road very fast. He's feeling all of the bumps, he's feeling the road, he's feeling the energy of his car. He's probably got the wind, going through his hair and stuff. He's just living in the moment. He's appreciating life, even if maybe things aren't going his way, even if maybe his career is not going well, or he doesn't live in a great place, or maybe his girlfriend dumped him. All of these things could be true. All of these things could possibly get somebody down, but everyone has something available to them to help them get through these tough times. So for Dean on this song, it sounds like he's just gonna have an awesome Saturday driving his car down, a stretch of highway really fast and just living in the moment. I mean, that's really what the song means to me, is it's about trying to live in the moment, not in the past, not in the future, which is harder to do. It's a lot harder than it sounds. I have trouble with that. But that's what the song makes me think of. But anyways, let's move along to track number 2, which is called Tell Me.
I bought all
So this song really, really spoke to me personally because I've been dealing with this my entire life. I have trouble making friends, as I've mentioned before in the channel. And something that I do every now and then, which I don't feel proud of, I feel this weird need to do it, is, the rare times I hang out with people, I feel inclined to like pay for the coffee or whatever if we go out and get coffee, when clearly they could pay for it themselves. And on some level, if I really think about it, that might be even a little bit insulting to say like, hey, do you want me to pay for your coffee? Or, it's on me rather, is what I would probably say. But then this guy, Dean's also kind of applying it more specifically to, trying to get a girl's attention, where basically, as far as he's concerned, the girl is just a trophy that he'll do anything to achieve, to get. Even if that means, kind of being a chump, kind of being one of those guys who's like, they're going to pay for all your drinks and they're going to pay for your meal. They're going to pay for anything depending on whatever date you're going on, right? They'll pay for your like movie ticket or whatever it is. Some girls like that, but I think in general, especially these days, it's probably good to just go Dutch, as they say, to have you pay for your stuff and the girl pay for their stuff. Because poor Dean, right? He keeps buying drinks for these guys that he wants to impress and be friends with. He keeps buying drinks for these girls that he wants to date, but nothing ever comes of it. He's just still lonely. He's still girlfriendless. He still doesn't have the friends he wants. And he just feels like a total chump at the end of the day. So I can definitely identify with him. I've definitely done that in my own life, and I feel like such an idiot afterwards. But anyways, so that's Tell Me. We're going to move on to track 3, which is one of the more famous songs from the album. It's called Snowstorm. So again, this is kind of like a bare bones song lyrically, and you really have to kind of go out of your way to find meaning in it, really. I mean, the point of the song for me mostly is just, it's a sonic highlight. Like, it's just a really well constructed song and recorded song. But it makes me think of a situation that I've been in many times, because he's talking about, listening to the weather. He says he's listening to the weather and he's changed his tone of voice. He can see it on the radar. It's only 7 hours away. There's going to be a snowstorm. So what he means by that, I would imagine, is he knows that something bad is going to happen. And either he can't stop it or he's just going to let it happen because he doesn't have the courage to make sure it doesn't happen, or he doesn't have the energy to do it or the motivation to do it. Like, he knows... I mean, you could apply this to a whole bunch of different situations, right? Like, maybe he knows that his girlfriend has been acting weird lately and she's just totally going to break up with this guy. And he knows it's going to happen. It's coming. The snowstorm is on its way. But instead of like being an adult and being mature about it and just breaking up with her before she does it and just accepting it, he's just going to ride it out. Is what it sounds like. He's just going to wait for it to happen. Because on some level, he's hoping that it maybe won't happen. Maybe she won't break up with him. If he just doesn't mention anything about it, then maybe she'll change her mind, right? Which, of course, isn't going to be the case, probably. So that's kind of what this song means to me, is it's about somebody sensing a situation, like a bad situation that's on its way, and not being man enough, as they say, to just deal with it before, like they like with the girlfriend thing, like they know it's going to happen, so they might as well just end it right now, but they're just going to wait it out. They're going to ride the wave and just hope for the best, even though they know the best is not going to happen. So I hope that makes sense. That's what this song kind of means to me. You know, that's my vague interpretation. But anyway, let's move along to track number 4, which is called Strange. Again, kind of another song that's open to interpretation, but it really makes me think about somebody who has moved to Los Angeles trying to, you know, get their career started. You know, obviously Galaxie 500's probably moved there to get their career started. And so he feels like a normal guy. He doesn't really feel any differently. You know, he's still going to go to the drugstore and buy a Coke and have some Twinkies, you know, some really like normal guy kind of behavior. But he's seeing everybody else around him in Los Angeles, and they're just acting like complete weirdos as far as he's concerned. They're probably dressed in really weird fashion statements. You know, he's probably noticing all of these people who are constantly trying to ladder climb socially by hanging out with certain people and dissing other people. Everybody just seems like the most horrible version of themselves, because obviously when you're in Los Angeles, opportunities around every corner, and you don't know, you don't want to feel like you're missing out, because there's so many chances to find the right person and to luck out. And so people kind of act differently in that kind of environment where you know that, you know, any person that you could talk to might be like a billionaire or a multimillionaire, or their uncle might be a record executive, or you don't know who anybody knows. So people there, and I've experienced this in my own life, they act very, very weird. They act very differently, you know. And of course he's saying, what do I want with all these things? So he's seeing all these like really cool mansions and supercars driving around and people wearing expensive clothes. And he's feeling tempted probably on some level to, you know, to cave in and want those things as well. But deep down, it sounds like he's going with his small town personality where he doesn't really want much materially. He just wants like a decent place, some friends, a nice girlfriend, and, you know, to be able to write his music and play his music. So that's kind of what this song means to me. It's about a small town guy encountering the absurdity of Los Angeles. But anyways, let's move along to track 5, which is called When Will You Come Home? Again, another kind of bizarre, open to interpretation kind of song. I know I say that a lot on this album, but it's true. But I kind of imagine this is the same character living in Los Angeles, and he's kind of caved in a little bit. He's probably taking some drugs, and he's on the floor, and he's making all these weird noises, and he's kind of tripping out. And on some level, he kind of wants to be bailed out of this. He feels like maybe he's in a little over his head a little bit, and he's kind of waiting for like his home connection to call him and to urge him to come back. You know, like let's say he's from Georgia or something. So he's hoping that like his mom will call him and like urge him to come home. Because he doesn't like the people in LA. He's getting tempted to be materialistic and to get into drugs. And he's not liking how he's turning out. He's turning into this weird personality that he never envisioned that he would turn into. He doesn't really like how his life is going, is what it sounds like. So on some level, he wants to maybe return home, but he's fighting that versus also wanting to be a musician for the rest of his life because he clearly loves it. So it's that weird decision that one has to make when it comes to like, how badly do you want to succeed? What are you willing to do for that? So that's kind of what the song means to me, is he's kind of tripping out and he's kind of doubting his move to LA. But anyways, let's move along to track 6, which is called Decomposing Trees. Again, a really cool sounding song, and I think another continuation of him taking drugs, except now he's kind of liking it. He's kind of maybe even getting addicted to it, because he says, you know, my toes can talk and they're smiling at me. Come down, they say, I'm not afraid anymore. So in other words, on the last song, he was kind of getting a little afraid of, you know, what it's like to be on drugs, because he was tripping out, he was acting really strangely, and he wasn't sure how he felt about it. But now it sounds like, you know, he's probably been going to a lot of parties, and probably he's been tempted to take like cocaine and other drugs. So he's finally caved and done all of these drugs, and now he's kind of liking it, right? It's kind of grown on him. He's not afraid of them anymore, and you know, he's just totally tripping out, where his toes are like talking to him, and they're trying to tell him to like relax and just calm down, or come down rather, just, you know, stop getting high all the time, basically, because you don't want to be one of those poor guys who ends up dead from an overdose at 30 when they had so much going for them. There's so many great musicians who on one hand clearly were inspired by getting high all the time, but then also tragically died young because of it. So it's like that weird balancing act that's almost impossible to figure out as an aspiring artist. But anyways, so let's move along, I believe, to track 7. Yep, it's called Another Day. So I kind of like the simple philosophy of this song, because on one hand, he's acknowledging that he's going through a bit of a rough period. Maybe he's a little bit depressed. The sky is gray, as he says, but he's smart enough, he's intelligent enough, and sophisticated enough to realize that not every day is going to be the same, as he says. Not every day is going to be a gem or really energizing or motivating or exciting. Some days you're just going to do not very much. Maybe you can't think of anything to write about. You can't think of any good guitar hooks for your latest album. Maybe there's nothing interesting on TV, because obviously there was no Netflix back then. Not every day is going to be a winner. And sometimes that can get to people who are very social or who like to party or who are kind of go-getters. They feel like a day that's not exciting is a complete waste, right? People who are very ambitious and motivated try to treat every day like an opportunity to grow their business or their brand or their career or whatever. So for people like that, they try to make the most out of every day. And that's why they succeed, really. But he's just trying to keep in mind that, like, you know what? Even if I am ambitious, sometimes you can just have a chill, gray day where you're not feeling amazing. Maybe you're feeling a little bit down. And you know what? This happens to everybody. Don't feel like you're a failure just because you're going through like a rough period. So I can relate to that. I can agree with that. But anyways, so I have one last track for you guys, which is from track 8. It's called Leave the Planet. I just absolutely love the singing and melodies on this song in particular. And it's a very simple song, but I think what he's really talking about here is trying to figure out what is at the core of his being, right? He wants to leave the planet metaphorically, in the sense that, like, he's being tempted by all these things in LA, like drugs and materialism and social climbing and stuff like that. And it's really getting to him. It's really messing with his brain. And he's just trying to figure out, like, what exactly at the end of the day is going to make him happy. And from what it sounds like, it's his guitar. It's his love for music. The one thing in his life that he knows he wants to do, that he loves doing, that gives him joy, that gives him meaning, is to, play his guitar, to write songs, to play in a band. And we all kind of need this moment in our lives where we have to figure out what is at the core of us. What do we really want to do? And it's really different for everybody. My personal version of this is I love discovering new favorite songs and albums, and I love sharing them with you guys and discussing them, interpreting the lyrics and themes and stuff. I just love it. That's at the core of me. Everything else is just a bonus, or I don't really care about it that much, or however you want to put it. So that's kind of how I think about this song, is just trying to remind you to really, every now and then, just think very deeply about your life, and to just ask yourself the most important question in your life, which is, what do I really want to do, and can I do it? Sorry for that strange cut, but I had to reshoot this take. So anyways, that's the album. That's On Fire. I do like it a lot. Again, I want to say that his vocals can be a little bit divisive. You either kind of love it or hate it. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like it, you know, but I love everything else. The songwriting's really good, the musicianship is great, the hooks and melodies are there. So I like this album quite a bit, and hopefully you guys found it interesting. But let me know down in the comments, as usual, what you thought about it. And if you guys enjoyed my interpretation, please leave a like and subscribe. It would really help my channel out. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, that is Galaxie 500. Check them out, and have a good one.